Welcome, I'm Mick, an ordinary lad, and this is Sovereign Warriors.
They are acting in fraud.
Yeah.
So the bank said to me, well, we can't give you the money back. And I said, well, I'm banked with you. I've looked at your policy and you have to pay me back if I'm in error.
Yeah.
If I've made a mistake,
Yeah.
you have to pay me back. Well, they said to me, right, well, we can't give you the money back until we get in touch with the bank. And I said, no, that doesn't work like that. You have to pay me the money back, and then they have to prove the contract, and if they don't, then I get to keep the money. So anyway, I basically went through all my mortgage payments, and I wrote them down, the dates, the times, everything that I'd ever paid them, but I could only go back to 2015. Well, I bought the house in 2007, so I claimed back from 2015. I claimed back from 2020 all the way back to 2015, and I got £47,000.
See, you're a jammy bastard as far as I'm concerned. I'll tell you why. Because I tried the same thing, and they knocked me back. They would not have it.
Well, they kept knocking me back.
Yeah, they knocked me back. They wouldn't have it.
If you look at your terms and conditions, you have to do this.
Yeah, well, I wasn't probably persistent enough.
So they paid me the money, and they said to me, right, you cannot spend that money within 28 days.
Until we've got in touch with
them.
Until
we find out what the crack is.
Yeah.
So I said, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
You do what you're doing. I'll keep the money there. If you can prove that there's a contract, I'll give you the money back. So this is what the banks have said to me. They said, right, 28 days. So I waited 29 days, and then I got in touch with the bank, and I said, right, that's my money then.
Yeah.
Bank's like, yeah. So I took the money out of the bank, and I put it into my digital assets.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I put it as a safe haven, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then nothing happened for around about a year. I didn't hear a dicky bird. And then all of a sudden I started getting letters through the door from a company called Equivio. Well, I looked them up, and they're a solicitor firm. They're actually like a law firm.
Yeah.
And they said that they're coming for the house. Now I'm in like nearly 50 grand's worth of arrears.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? So I got in touch with this company, and I sent them all my details that I've been questioning the bank, and all the paperwork that I've been providing to the bank, asking these questions as my proof.
Yeah.
And they just they just basically ignored that and said, no, we're coming for the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they took me to court. So little did I know that these are family courts. These aren't like criminal courts or anything like this. These are all like
administration.
Mickey Mouse courts.
Not courts of record, which they're supposed to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've gone into court, and there's the advocate for the bank, and then there's also this judge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a clerk there, and I'm stood in this room with my friend, and we're listening to what they're saying. Well, I'm providing the evidence, saying, look, they're trying to create joinder with me through my birth certificate. Well, that's not me. I don't know this company. I've never had a mortgage with this company.
Yeah.
Who are they?
Yeah.
Well, basically, they buy the debts on as a security bond.
Yeah, they'll buy a load at one
time.
They
buy thousands and thousands of debt.
One go,
So this company, I've never met this man in my life.
Yeah.
I've never met this judge in my life.
Yeah.
I've always paid my bills, so I lived there for 17 years. But the last 4 years, I never paid my bills.
Yeah.
So because I'm challenging this corporation. Well, anyway, they ruled against me in the court. So then I started to appeal it. Well, they ignored the appeals because the ruling that they give me wasn't what I wanted. Because I've got the proof now to provide the evidence that
they haven't lent you a bean.
They didn't lend me a penny.
Yeah.
So now they've ruled against me. Next thing you know, they've put out an eviction notice. So they've given me like I think it was a month to get out. So what I did is I got a load of people round
Yeah.
there, and we all
Yeah.
stood on the drive, because I thought the courts are not listening to me. I've got all the facts there, the proof,
Yeah.
and the
I remember you
evidence.
with the file coming out. Yeah, I
my
remember.
file was
Yeah.
like this. I mean,
Yeah, I
you can
remember
watch
it.
it on YouTube.
Yeah.
On Bannerman.
Bannerman. Yeah.
It was around about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Nearly 2 years ago.
Yeah, it
now.
was. Yeah. Yeah.
And we sat outside and we blocked the drive off, because I looked at the boundaries, the meets and bounds.
Yeah.
And I looked at the boundaries and I said, look, you know, obviously their implied rights of access have been removed. I've got the notices on my door to prove that it's private property. I've got the deeds to the house. I'm the proprietor. Not only that, I that's my home.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got a load of people there. The eviction, they backed off.
Yeah.
I mean, they came there and they were trying to force it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of police there. They
Yeah.
said that they were there for the breach of the peace,
Yeah.
which the first time, to be fair, they were all right.
Yeah. But they were a bit taken back by it all as well.
Oh yeah,
They didn't
yeah.
expect that. I was rather
I mean,
fucking right. They were unprepared for it. Let's get it right.
I was one of the first to actually stand and
I know.
protest against
Yeah,
this.
I know, mate. I know.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, and then what I did is I just carried on, and it like went on for another year.
Yeah.
They kept sending me letters, and I was writing back to them, and writing back to the judges. I was spending a lot of time doing
I
paperwork.
know you were, mate. And making
And,
sure the T didn't go across that properly.
Yeah.
I know, because I
I mean,
did
I
the
wanted to
same
get
thing.
it right
Yeah.
because
Because you were right, and you wanted to present yourself right.
I didn't
so
want to
the-
lose my home.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't want to lose my home, but
Yeah.
not only that, I proved everything was wrong
Yeah.
from the start.
Yeah.
Now, if they're making a claim, the burden of proof is on them.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're supposed to say to you, right, well, this is this is that, and give you the facts.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't, so I proved the facts to them,
Yeah.
but they completely ignored it again.
Yeah, well, I've had the same thing actually. And I know it happened to you as well. Exactly the same thing. I asked them so many questions, bullet pointed about 20 questions. I think I did, some at 15, 20 questions, and they got back to me and says, "We've sent it to the complaints department,"
Yeah.
which I know happened to you as well. Right, and I says, "Hang on a minute, I ain't complained. I've asked the question. This was last June. Well, it's June now." They sent me a letter to say, "Oh yeah, sorry it's taking a little bit longer because apparently it was only going to take 4 weeks and I'd have all the answers back." That's what they told me.
Yeah.
I've got it. I keep all it like you
Yeah.
did. I keep it all. In fact, you schooled me on it, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I kept everything. They says, "Yeah, we'll get back to you in a month's time."
People-
6 months later, I got another letter back saying, "We're ever so sorry it's took a bit longer. We only need a few more weeks." That was a year ago, not another thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I didn't hear another thing for like another year, and then all of a sudden one day they just pulled up at my door. The doorbell had gone. I was in my back garden just like having a coffee and a fag, and I've got my pajamas on, and I hears the doorbell go, and I looked, I sort of like looked at my phone, and I went to the front door, and there was a load of people dressed in black on my drive, and I was like, "Can I help you?" And he said, "Yeah, we've come to evict you." I said, what are you on about? I said, "Have you got any paperwork with you?" "We don't need nothing.
You
We're
don't
coming
need
today.
nothing.
We're coming today. You're out."
You don't need
That's
nothing.
what he said to me.
And you don't need nothing.
And I went, "Well, you've." I said, "For one, you've not notified me that you was coming.
Yeah.
They're supposed to notify
Yeah,
you
of course
within
you are.
7 days."
The reason being as well, so it gives you time to get your shit together to move out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I got my 4-year-old kid and my missus upstairs,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What the freaking heck's going off here?"
Yeah.
So next thing you know, he's starting a steel saw, and I'm going, "What are you doing, mate?"
Yeah.
I've got my kid in here. He's
Yeah.
4 years old. He's a vulnerable child, and they shouldn't ever do anything like
under
that.
20, anything under 16 years of
Under
age.
16,
Yeah, that's right.
they should not
that's
come
right,
there.
Yeah.
So I notified him and I said to him, "Listen, mate, I've got a 4-year-old kid in here and my missus.
Yeah.
Give me 20 minutes. Let me sort them out.
Yeah.
Let them get out.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a discussion."
Yeah, take it from there.
Before I'm knowing it, mate, they've started the steel saw, mate, and they're cutting through my front door.
Yeah.
So I'm
Is
getting
that the
on
one
the
with
phone.
the gate on?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
you used to have the gate, didn't you? The metal
Yeah,
gate.
I had a gate there
Yeah.
to block the letterbox.
Yeah, yeah.
Because once you've got a letterbox there, it's their implied right of access.
Well, to be fair, you did try and start a campaign going.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it fizzled out, because it was a brilliant campaign. Can you just explain a bit about that? Because I forgot all about that. Because
Right.
if we can get our viewers all to do it, brilliant.
Yeah, well, I came up with this thing. It's called Project Letterbox.
Yeah.
And basically, what you do is you just block your letterbox up, because anything that ever comes through your door is a contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't know it. And when you look at your name on your letter, see all the windows